Starmie is my favorite Pokemon of all time. And Mega Starmie is my favorite Mega Evolution. I don't care if I'm being biased. If you don't know, I like to use Pokemon in pretty insane ways. So the fact that they turned Starmie, my favorite Pokemon, into a physical attacker, which is something that it's not typically meant to be, feels like a direct parallel to what I do with my Pokemon teams. The fact that this Pokemon gets access to huge power, not to mention that it has great priority with Aqua Jet, and it can hit really hard with Liquidation, Zen Headbutt, and Ice Spinner for coverage. So today I am finally using my favorite Mega Pokemon, Mega Starmie, in Pokemon Champions. If you enjoy these types of videos, then please consider subscribing. I plan on uploading many more videos in Pokemon Champions using the most insane Mega Pokemon, the most insane teams, and I would really appreciate it. And with that, let's get right into these battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I have 3 battles with the Mega Starmie team. I'm so excited to be using this, so let's get right into this. My opponent is going to lead with the Mudsdale. I have a lot of Pokemon to help support my Mega Starmie, like this Dragapult, for example. Now, this is easily like one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, and definitely the fastest on my team. This is a Choice Scarf Dragapult. Modest nature, actually, because I'm already super fast. I just wanted the Choice Scarf to get the extra jump on Pokemon that may set up their speed, like Dragonite, for example. So Mudsdale goes for the Stealth Rocks. I actually noticed it doesn't have stamina as its ability. That's interesting. So I'm gonna swap into my Rotom Heat. This is a bit of a utility Rotom Heat. I really wish it kept moves like Taunt and Parabolic Charge, but the Mudsdale is gonna go for the rest and recovers HP. So dealing with this is a bit of a pain for now. So I have this Volt Switch, Thunder Wave, Overheat, and Pain Split set. I'm running max HP and max speed on my Rotom Heat. Also, I will say, I wish there was 6v6, but at the same time, I'm having a lot of fun playing 3v3 singles, casually anyway. It's really, really fun. So, the Mudsdale's gonna go for the Rock Slide, and then they swap out. So, this turn I was like, well, the best I could do here is go for the Pain Split. They go into the Water Paldean and Tauros, so I was completely fine with getting off a Pain Split because they are at full HP and I'm going to get a lot of health recovery because of that. I'm also running White Herb as the item on this so that I could reset my stats after using an Overheat. So, this turn I thought, you know what, I'm just going to bring in my Starmie here, because I should be able to tank whatever hit this Tauros goes for. They actually go for the high horsepower on the switch. Maybe anticipating that my Rotom would swap, or maybe they didn't realize I was Levitate. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume that they did predict that though. So, now I'm going to Mega Evolve. I have Zen Headbutt on the set. I have Aqua Jet, Liquidation, and Ice Spinner. And this Zen Headbutt is going to do some crazy damage. Takes out the Tauros. I was like, okay, I'm in a great position because Mega Starmie in the matchup, it looks amazing in this. So Mudsdale comes in, it's on like over half HP, and even though this Pokemon is very defensive, there's no way it's tanking a super effective, huge power boosted Liquidation from my Mega Starmie. I can't believe this Pokemon got huge power. That is so funny. So Mega Steelix comes in. I knew it was going to be a Mega, but I wanted to see how much damage it would do, considering this Pokemon has base 230 defense. Crazy. So going for the Liquidation, super effective Liquidation. Look at how much damage that did. It did like 66%, like 2/3 of its health. That just goes to, this was definitely like fully physically defensive, I had to say. So my Mega Starmie gets taken out, but it already did so much cleanup, and now I can bring in my Rotom Heat, take some Stealth Rocks damage, and then go for the Overheat, and then hope I don't miss, right? But even then, I still have my Choice Scarf Shadow Ball on my Dragapult still left. But that is the end of the first game. The thing about 3v3 singles is that the games go at a breakneck speed, especially in comparison to 6v6 singles. So, I will say, if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button. I definitely plan on using a lot more Mega Pokemon with a lot more unorthodox sets. And on to the second game. Now, my opponent has Aurora Veil. They have Mega Meganium potentially, Mega Starmie as well of their own. So, this time, they're going to lead with the Glamora. That terrible lead on my part. I obviously lead with the Clefable. But I have my Aggron on this team. This is a really interesting Aggron set. Also, I will say, these next 2 games are games that I got from Pokeaim's tournament that he held on one of his streams. So I thought I'd show this. I thought I'd show these battles because they were really interesting. So Starmie comes in. I'm actually running an offensive Aggron. I'm not Mega Aggron, of course, because I'm running Mega Starmie, and I have a really interesting set on this. So my opponent is going to opt to Mega Evolve their own Starmie. So this Mega Starmie, I thought this is perfect because I'm running Sturdy on this set, so I should be able to tank whatever hit they go for. They go for the flip turn. So I was like, are they going to go out into the Focus Sash Glimmora or not? They go into the Alola Ninetales. This is perfect because I'm running Metal Burst on this. Metal Burst returns 50% of the damage that I took, and that one-shots the Alola Ninetales. That was a perfect KO. That was a perfect KO because I don't have to deal with the Aurora Veil at all. I'm also running Endeavor on this set. It says crazy. I have like Iron Head, Earthquake, Endeavor, and Metal Burst on this set. So it's a really interesting like anti-lead Pokemon. With Sturdy, I can be able to tank any one hit as well. So Mega Starmie takes me out and they flip turn into the Glimmora. So I pretty much have to bring in my own Mega Starmie to deal with this. I definitely think the Glimmora is Focus Sash at this point, and that, you know, they want to preserve their Sash for my Mega Starmie. So I'm going to hit this with the super effective Liquidation that brings them all the way down to their Focus Sash. And I thought I should be able to tank a Sludge Wave or any super effective hit. Well, assuming that they do have a super effective hit. They go for the Sludge Wave. It does a lot of damage, but I live on 40 HP, which is great. I could go for another Liquidation and take out the Glimmora. Now, I do have Aqua Jet, but I didn't want to really reveal that quite yet. So they're going to bring in their Mega Starmie of their own. We're down to the two Mega Starmies at this point. They go for the Aqua Jet. I do tank that, and I thought, I'm just going to go for the Liquidation because I have a fully physically defensive Clefable in the back. But I thought, you know, I do have Aqua Jet of my own, right? So I could go for that Aqua Jet, see if I outspeed them, and if I don't, I could bring in my Clefable instead. And then it will come down to whether or not Zen Headbutt with flinch. But my Aqua Jet is going to out-prioritize their Aqua Jet. I am running Jolly Nature on my Mega Starmie. I'm not Adamant. So maybe theirs was Adamant Nature, but I was able to win with Mega Starmie again in the end game. Mega Starmie is just one of the best Pokemon ever. So on to this final game. This final game was really good. There's definitely a lot of threats like Sneasler, Archaladon, Mega Gyarados was what I was particularly really worried about. So this time I have my Hydrapple here. Now, this is a Nasty Plot Regenerator Hydrapple. Not the best lead into Sneasler, but I know that I could tank a Dire Claw from this. So I'm just going to go for the Earth Power here. It does some amazing damage. It doesn't even take it down to its Focus Sash either, assuming it had one. But just in case it was close combat White Herb, I opted to go into my Dragon Ball here. Main reason being that I could take a +2 Dire Claw from this Pokemon. I had to risk the status, by the way. Luckily, it only gets poison. The thing about Sneasler as well is that Dire Claw was nerfed to only activate 30% of the time. Thank goodness, because this Pokemon was a pain to deal with in Scarlet and Violet. So I'm just going to go for the U-turn and outspeed and take out the Sneasler. I was thankful that it didn't have like any unburden boost whatsoever. So I'm going to bring back in my Hydrapple. Now Archaladon comes in. I have a Habanberry on my Hydrapple. There's such a limited pool of items in this game. I had to work with what I had to work with. And it ended up being really nice in this instance because I was able to tank the Draco Meteor. I have a super effective Earth Power. Archaladon isn't really great on the specially defensive side. They do also have a White Herb as well so that they can restore their special attack drop after the Draco Meteor. So as I go for the Earth Power, it just barely takes the hit. I assume this Archaladon is sturdy. Well, it definitely is sturdy because Stamina didn't activate. So it would have been able to live anyway. But as the Archaladon goes for the Thunder Wave, I was like, oh my gosh, they absolutely have Mega Gyarados in the back. That's why I didn't bring my Mega Starmie in this game, because Mega Gyarados really walls me and I could easily be set up by that Pokemon. But they go Primarina instead. So I was like, that's okay. I do have some metric to deal with this, but I need to get some chip on this Primarina. So I have my physically defensive Clefable. Oh my gosh. This is a Moonblast Flamethrower Thunder Wave Moonlight set, and I have Unaware as the ability. I'm not running Magic Guard on this. So the Primarina stops my healing with the Psychic Noise. Thunder Wave misses though. that was really unfortunate. So they're gonna go for the Moon Blast. Does a lot of damage to me. I can't heal either, so I have to go for the Thunder Wave. I thankfully land the second one. That is going to ensure that I outspeed the Primarina on the next turn, and then I could go for the Moonlight and recover my HP. Now the thing about paralysis is that it's actually nerfed in this game. It used to activate 25% of the time you would get fully paralyzed and unable to move, but now in this game I believe it's a 12.5% chance. So it's really rare to get fully paralyzed, but it can still happen. I guess at this point paralysis is like a speed control status rather than like having an inability to move like with sleep or freeze, which are also nerfed, thank goodness. So as I go for the Moon Blast, it actually does quite a lot more damage than I thought, which definitely makes me believe that this Primarina is like max speed, max special attack rather than max HP. So my last line of defense is my Dragapult. I have Choice Scarf Hex, but it's not enough to take out the Primarina. Oh my gosh, they also have a Citrus Berry too. So really, if I got off the it would have been really close, because I would have been able to get off 2 Moon Blasts against the Primarina had I gone for had the first Thunder Wave landed, because then I would be like at like over half of my HP. This is what happens when I don't use Mega Starmie, by the way. But I still thought I'd show that game because it was really close. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. I definitely have way more battles and Pokemon champions to come. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.